in Anthony's bag.
Whenever we
You
have
forget your
this, we're gonna have
Gatorade?
to do the front and the back, or just the back?
You're going to have to do the bag.
Alright.
Yeah, that's why I kept your sheet.
Okay.
You have to do the back.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a quiz, but we're just doing
Probably Tuesday on those.
I need
It's probably going to be Tuesday for the identities, Wednesday for the actual quiz. Because y'all have the PSAT on Thursday, so I want to get it done before that. Because I know y'all aren't going to study after the PSAT on Thursday. All right, so we were going to pick up where we left off after Cooper and Addie chose difficult numbers. And we ended up with fractions, and this problem became very, very
We
long.
can just blame Cooper for that one.
You started
Cooper
it.
finished it.
He just said, yeah, those work.
It's a group effort.
He was encouraging it.
We should have just listened to Jonah, was the bottom line, and we should have used Jonah's numbers. Because we immediately eliminated fractions and fractions by this, but we had this conversation yesterday. This doesn't just cancel because both of these are negative and only one of these down here is negative. So I still have to multiply by the conjugate. So this is going to be 1 plus root 3. And so on top, I'm going to FOIL. So I'm going to end up with negative 1 minus root 3 minus root 3 and then minus 3 all over 1 minus 3.
So you left. I left. Yeah.
So
I enjoy your presence, not the camera.
negative 4 minus 2 root 3 over negative 2.
That was a great bar.
I know, I don't know what just happened. I was like, I can factor out a negative 2 up here. So I have negative 2, and I'm left with 2 plus root 3 over negative 2. Negative 2's cancel, and we have 2 plus root 3.
Well, that's way easier.
Yeah.
Way easier and so much faster. And also a lot less paper compared to
Yeah, that probably.
It took up like half my
It
page.
didn't even load, there was some.
all of
I was
that.
running arrows.
What?
I was running arrows. Like, oh, that
She
goes
probably
in.
turned her head because you're like this.
Sorry.
I don't
I
care.
need to interrupt your class.
It's all good. I don't care. Have at it. You can stay the whole class period if you want.
It's like stay behind.
You have to come back tomorrow or Monday for Cooper, though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool.
He probably thinks he's getting out of it by taking pictures.
All right, the next ones are to evaluate the expression given that the cosine of A is equal to 4 over 5 with 0 less than A less than pi over 2 and sine of B is equal to negative 15 over 17 with 3 pi over 2 less than B less than 2 pi.
I will look the other way.
Stop.
So what's gonna happen now? Ooh, got some in my eye. Is we're gonna have basically two different like triangles that I'm gonna set up. Now, this is the setup for the next 6 problems. So it's not like you're gonna have to go back and do this again, like in your homework. You're gonna look way goofier if you look like that, Addie, in the yearbook than if you're just sitting normally.
I have to do this. I'm sorry.
That's how I sit.
I have.
No,
to
you
do
don't.
You
No,
never
you
sit
do
like
not.
this. You always
She
sit like this.
No.
You do sit with it over your face, though.
Yeah, I will, like, hide my double chin.
She doesn't even have one.
So, all that to say, I'm setting up these triangles, but when you do this, I don't know why I just drew it like that. Oh, I do know why I drew it like that. Because of this. But the reason that I'm setting it up like this is because I'm going to have 2 different ones. But on the homework, you aren't necessarily going to need to go back through and redraw these because it applies to all 6 problems that are in the book. Okay, this is like in the instructions. However, I would suggest at some point before we take the quiz next week, you go back and draw these yourself to make sure you know how to do them, because on the quiz they won't be drawn for you. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 here. So cosine of A is 4/5, and we were told that it is between 0 and pi over 2, so that means it's up here in quadrant 1. Cosine is the adjacent value, so that's going to be this value here. And my hypotenuse is 5, so 4/5. Now, if you recognize this special Pythagorean triangle, my thing fell off the wall over there, but this is a Pythagorean triple. If you don't recognize that, you would need to use the Pythagorean theorem to solve. So, we would have 5 squared minus 4 squared is equal to, I'm just going to say a squared. So then that's 25 minus 16, and we're going to take the square root of that. That's 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So that means that this side is 3. So this is a 3, 4, 5 special triangle. So this is angle A right here, just for reference for us. The other one, B, is going to be over here. It's from 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi, so that means it's down here in quadrant 4. And so it's going to look like this. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so that would be, this would be negative 15. This is going to be the 17 here. This is going in the negative direction, so obviously that tells us that the negative from here has to go on this part. My x value, though, is going to be positive because it's going to the right, and so I need to solve for this one. And so same thing, I'm just going to say a squared is equal to 17 squared, so it's always hypotenuse squared, minus 15 squared. Since it's negative, it's going to square, it's going to go away. So
Wouldn't it be plus 15 squared because it's already negative and you're subtracting it to the other side?
because this would technically be this. I just don't, a length can't be negative, so.
Never mind.
Because normally we have this. So if I plug in the numbers, I'd have, or I can put that there if we want it. And then this is getting moved over here, but because this is in here being squared, it's going to be positive. So I have to move this, have to subtract it over here. So a squared is going to be 17 squared minus 15 squared. It was the same thing we did over here. These ones just were all positive values. I just skipped a step by going straight to this when I wrote it the first time. So then that's the square root of, I don't know what these squares are off the top of my head. 17 squared, 289, 15 squared, I think that's 225, yeah, minus 225. So that's the square root of 64, which is 8. So now this is the setup for everything. But there's a little bit more setup that can be done with this to help us as we move into the problems. And you'll see why I'm doing all of this in just a second. So the sine of, or cosine of A is 4/5. That was given to us. The sine of A is going to then be 3/5. And then the tangent of A would be 3/4. We may or may not need all of this information, but
Do we do cosine, cosecant?
not for these ones, because that's not part of our formulas for our sum and difference formulas. So then my, over here, sine of A was given to me, or sorry, sine of B. This was angle B over here on this one. Sine of B was negative 15/17. cosine of B is adjacent over hypotenuse, so 8 over 17. And then tangent of B, opposite over adjacent, negative 15 over 8. So this information here is what you need to be able to solve the next problems. We haven't even started solving the problem yet. We've just been setting up the problem so far.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is why I said when you do the homework, you don't have to do this every single time. Like, you don't even really have to do it unless you just want to do it. You can just reference this. However, when you get to the quiz or the test, this won't be set up for you. And I could change the numbers on you. Okay, so that's why you need to make sure at some point that you can do this by yourself, the setup. But for the sake of doing the homework, you don't have to do that. All right, so now to actually get to the problems. Number 12 is the sine of A plus B. So these are still our sum and difference formulas. So this is going to be sine A cosine B. Not the right color. Same sign plus cosine A sine B. And now I'm going to replace each of these respective trig functions with the value that it fits from up here. So sine of A is 3 over 5. Cosine of B is 8 over 17. Plus cosine of A is 4 over 5. Sine of B is negative 15 over 17. And then we just have to multiply this stuff. So this would be 24 over 85. And then, now, I see that this number here is going to be negative because I have a negative 15 up here. So I'm going to go ahead and instead of this plus sign here, I'm going to make this minus 60 over 85. And then I just need to combine them. And so I get negative 36 over 85. Now, what do you notice about the final answer of these compared to what we were doing yesterday?
There's no, what's it called? Square root.
There's no square roots, right? It's just a number. When it loads, all of the ones we did yesterday for sine and cosine, I told you we're going to have square root of 6, square root of 2, and 4 in some combo. If your answer doesn't look like that, it's not right. That's when we're using values off the unit circle. Okay, so those are going to obviously be different than what we just did down here, where we're finding the values of this, and then we're just plugging those in. Okay, so these are going to look different, so I wanted to go back and explain, like when I said yesterday, all your answers are going to look like this. It means when we're doing the ones that are like values off the unit circle, they're all going to end up being like that.
Okay.
14, tangent of A plus B. So same thing, we're still using this stuff that we found. So this is tangent of A plus tangent of B, so same sign on top, over 1 opposite sign minus tangent of A times tangent of B. And then I'm just going to plug in the values for tangent of A and tangent of B. So I've got 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and make that a minus since it's 15 over 8 or negative 15 over 8. I'm just going to go ahead and say minus 15 over 8 all over 1 minus 3/4 times negative 15 over 8. So I need to get a common denominator on top. So this is going to become, I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite this. So this would need an 8 on the bottom. So 6 over 8. So we would have negative 9 over 8 on top. And then on the bottom, This is going to end up being a positive 45 over 32. And then I've got the 1 out here, so that's just going to be 32 over 32. So then I'm just going to like scratch this out to avoid having to write the whole thing again. If you want to do that, like when you're doing problems, that's fine. If you want to rewrite the whole thing over and over again, I also am okay with that. So this bottom part is going to become 77 over 32. At this point then, I have a fraction and a fraction, so I'm going to, keep change flip. So I've got negative 9 over 8 times 32 over 77. 8 goes into 32 4 times. Don't think 77 can be broken down. Yep, negative 36 over 77. So again, yesterday we said that all the tangent ones are going to be some combo of 2 and root 3 or something along those lines. And so again, with these ones, they're different because we have actual values that we're throwing in there. They're not off the unit circle. 16, cosine of A minus B.
Well, that's great.
So this one is cosine A, cosine B. Opposite sign plus sine A, sine B. So this is, what do we have, 4/5, 8/17 plus 3/5 and negative 15 over 17. So obviously here I could, on the right hand side, I could do like the 5 into 15 and call that 3, but that's going to eliminate my common denominator because if you notice, both of these things are a 5 and a 17 on the bottom. So I would not recommend simplifying until the end of a problem like this where we're adding stuff together, or at least until after I've like combined them. So this is going to be 32 minus 45 over, what number do we say that was earlier? 85. And so then we would have negative 13 over 85. And then obviously if at any point you get to it where it could like reduce down, you should reduce it down. But questions on those ones before we get into the last thing of this section? These are all the same problems, just a different way to do them, basically. The last one say to simplify the expression, and these ones used to be super confusing to me until I figured out what they actually wanted us to do, and they're actually really easy. These are probably going to be the easiest ones in the whole section. 20, sine of x plus pi. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the formulas, but instead of a and b, I'm going to use x and pi. So for the addition one for sine, it would be sine x cosine pi, same sign, plus cosine x sine of pi. So I can't do anything with the x's, but what is the cosine of pi?
Calculator not on.
-1.
-1. These are all going to be unit circle values again. So -1 and then plus cosine of x times what's the sine of pi? 0. That whole part goes away. -1 times sine of x is negative sine of x. And that's your answer. It took me like the longest time when I first started teaching this to figure out why they were giving it to us like this and how they were getting to this answer until I realized I was still supposed to be using sum and difference formulas. Like the first 2 years, I was like, I was just skipping them because I was like, what are we doing? And then it finally registered. I was like, these are still sum and difference formula problems. Anyways. But they're not bad once you understand what you're supposed to be doing. It's just in the short term. Yeah.
Obviously not draw it now. You said yes, right? I thought you were like, no. I was like, oh.
No, I was gonna say if you want me to put it on the bulletin board, you can bring it back and I'll put it on the bulletin board later. I'll add it to my board.
Everybody loves pie.
All right, 22. Tangent of x minus 2 pi. So I've got tangent of x, same sign, minus tangent of 2 pi over 1 opposite sign plus tangent of x times tangent of 2 pi. So obviously I can't do anything with tangent of x, but what is the tangent of 2 pi?
Still 0.
0, so I'm going to put a scratch through that. That means that down here the tangent of 2 pi is also 0. So this whole piece goes away
So it's just tangent.
Tan X.
over 1, which is just tangent of x.
Wow.
Hoping you'll start to like these ones better than the other stuff.
Yeah, we should just have the entire quiz.
Yeah.
30. Cosine of x plus 5 pi over 2. So, we've got cosine x, cosine 5 pi over 2, opposite sign, sine of x, sine of 5 pi over 2. Now, cosine of 5 pi over 2,
That's not on.
not directly, right? But I can count it around. So I start here, 1 pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2. Keep going around. 5 pi over 2 is the same as pi over 2. So what's the cosine at pi over 2?
No, sorry, 0.
0. So I'm just going to write the 0. Minus sine of x times what's the sine at 5 pi over 2?
Is it 1?
Yeah. 1. So then this
The
part
answer
goes
is
away.
sin X.
So it's minus sine of x.
What? Is there going to be one where it's not going to be on the unit circle?
There could, not with these ones. There could be obviously in the other ones that we did, but none of these ones are. Now one thing that's weird to me, hold on. Let me backtrack for a second and we're going to do 24 just so we can see something. Tangent of x plus pi over 2.
Parentheses, right? Okay.
Hey, don't
Can't count. You can't count.
All right. Tangent of x plus tangent of pi over 2 over 1 opposite sign minus tangent of x tangent of pi over 2.
It's undefined.
Yeah. Tangent of pi over 2 is undefined. Which also means that this one is,
Undefined.
yep. So basically we can't do anything with this one.
Oh, what's she?
So, because this whole part, if this is undefined, this causes a problem, obviously, and so I can't do this one. They somehow get to the answer being minus cotangent of x. Anyways, we're not going to do ones like that, but I'm just showing you in case it comes up in anything, like unintentionally. But if they're undefined, just write undefined.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Because while the whole thing isn't, I would have to do a lot of extra work to get this work down. Like, you can do it, but it has to be broken up and all kinds of stuff to make this happen. So, anyways, just write undefined. I'm not trying to give you one like this, but if you get to one where it's values of tangent that would be undefined, just write that and just leave it. So,
Alright.
all right, any questions on this?
No.
All right, 3, 7, 13, 15, 19, 23, and 25.
Base restroom.
Dang it.
So you need to have 14.7 notes for Monday and this homework for Monday.